Yes, so I would like us to start off this webinar with a word of prayer, so that at least we can have one participant, any volunteer, kindly just pray for us so that we can officially kickstart this webinar. And then I'll take you through the program of the day. So do we have any volunteer who wants to lead us in a word of prayer today? You can raise your hand if you are willing and ready.
I can volunteer, Claire. It's Edna.
Thank you, Edna. Yes, please feel free to go ahead.
Okay, let us bow our heads and pray. God, our Father, we thank you for the gift of life and thank you for having brought us here to celebrate the Girls in ICT Day. We thank you for everyone that you've brought into this call, all the participants and the speakers, as well as the organizers. We truly thank you for having them. We ask that you guide us in everything that we shall go through, and all the learnings and insights, we ask you to show us the way. And even for those who haven't been able to join in, we ask that you guide them wherever they are. In Jesus' name we do pray and believe. Amen. Thank you. Back to you, Claire.
Amen. Thank you so much, Edna, for that wonderful prayer. So allow me to just share my screen so that you can clearly see the agenda and the program that we have for today. So we have just started off with the introduction. Claire Karani, your host and moderator for this particular webinar, will be moving on to the brief overview of MobiGirlz. Many of you might know Immobilis, the institution, the organization, but you really don't know what MobiGirlz is. So I'll be just briefly taking you through the MobiGirlz program, what it's about. Then we'll have a bit of a short video, and after that, we'll be going straight to our wonderful, wonderful speakers. We have Catherine Wanjiru, the research AI engineer at IBM. We have Njeri Nderitu, a product and digital marketing consultant. We'll have a bit of a break. Our Bean team here will be just giving us a bit of a breather, a break, so that we can be able to gear up for the next set of speakers, who will be Joylynn Kirui, who is a senior cloud security advocate working at Microsoft, and next will be Beryl Nekesa, a software engineer. So after each speaker, we'll give maybe a maximum of 1 or 2 questions. And then after that, at the very end, we'll have a Q&A. Any questions that probably we've not tackled that you feel are pressing and burning, you'll get a chance to actually have our speakers and get answers from our speakers. And then we'll be doing a bit of a feedback survey to know what to improve for future webinars and what areas you really loved about the webinar. Last will be a vote of thanks. So this promises to be a very engaging, short and sweet kind of webinar. And we hope you guys will really engage and ask lots and lots of questions. So without further ado, allow me to just get right into it. I will be sharing my screen and giving the brief overview of the MobiGirlz program so that you all can get to understand a bit better what this MobiGirlz program is all about. Okay, so as some of you know, Immobilis, we are a technical training and incubation hub located in Westlands. We have been around for the last 14 years, offering different services. We have the trainings, we have consultancy, we have innovation hubs and incubation programs. And over the last 14 years, we have been awarded a number of accolades and awards, one being the best use of ICT. We have won best private sector company. We have won first runners up in a program where it was about diversity and inclusion. But the one award I really want to talk about is what brings us all here together, the MobiGirlz Award. So in 2023, this particular program, MobiGirlz, was awarded the winners under the category of Enabling Environment in an award called World Summit of the Information Society Forum. So this is where MobiGirlz was awarded for its passion and for its efforts in promoting more young women to uptake STEM courses. So this particular award was actually our MD, Mr. Ken Wenda, was able to fly to Geneva, Switzerland to receive this award. And just to show you that this program is quite worldwide, is that this particular award was being competed by 900 other organizations. So it was really great to see this initiative by MobiGirlz being awarded and recognized globally. So what is this MobiGirlz that I'm talking about? So MobiGirlz is an initiative by MobiGirlz that was started back in 2016 to help uptake, mentor, train, and help more young women to uptake STEM courses. So between 2016 to date, we have been able to train at least 220 young women, and this is through partial scholarships, full scholarships, and others on self-sponsorships. We've been able to train on digital literacy, software development, and graphic design. And back in 2016, actually, this is when we won our first grant award. This was called the Miss Africa Seed Fund back in 2016, where we were able to sponsor at least 30 young women who were in universities, and they were able to go through a software development course. And we are also proud that in this particular cohort, there's one particular lady who stood out and was able to actually create an application that could detect sewer leakages. And this particular application was actually awarded and recognized by the UN Habitat. So these are just pictures from that particular .connect class. We had the students receiving the certificates, some of the top students receiving some awards, as you can see on the right. Another event that we have organized as MobiGirlz as well is the Global Editathon back in 2018, where we tasked our current, or rather the current MobiGirlz community to, we sat them in one of our labs and then told them to look for notable women in ICT. So they went, searched online, looked for women who are doing great things in STEM, and they actually got featured in Wikipedia. Next is the Google Africa Code Week. We had one of our alumni who was part of the MobiGirlz community run a program where they could teach young kids on Scratch. So this was a 3-day program, and MobiGirlz was selected to be part of these partners, and we were able to teach young children on how to code using Scratch. The next, we have the MIT App Inventor. So this was a 2-week training. We brought in different sponsors who would sponsor at least 8 girls. They were being trained on web development, graphic design, and app development using the MIT App Inventor. Since there were 8, they were divided into 2 groups, and the winning team actually was able to come up with a business plan and website. So you can see here the winning team winning some cash awards and also being trained by the elite trainer. Another program, this was the graphic design bootcamp. So for this particular one, it was self-sponsored, meaning the ladies came in, learned, and was self-sponsoring. So the good thing about this one was that the top student actually won a contract to design a logo and banner for the intersex community. And this one was made possible by the Kenya National Commission of Human Rights. We had at least 5 students. They were able to complete the program, and the best student also had a cash award at the very end. At the very right, you can see the students are very happy having received their certificates. So this is just, again, some pictures with the organizing team as well as the students. And yeah, we've also been able to participate in the Safaricom Technovation Challenge. So this has been an ongoing partnership with Safaricom, whereby as MobiGirlz, we are able to actually partner with Safaricom during the Technovation Challenge. It's a challenge for high school students So they come up with solutions that are actually currently challenges that are facing the society, and they come up with solutions for them. So as MobiGirlz, we participated as the judging panel, and this year we are helping the students refine their business plans. So yeah, I'm not sure why my slides are showing as they are. Let me try and see if I can fix it. Just a minute, kindly. Yeah, okay. So let me just go back to my slide. Sorry for that. Okay, yeah, I think now we are good to continue. So Wow Foundation is also another program as MobiGirlz we have been a part of, where we actually were able to conduct STEM camps in Kenya and Nigeria. So we had these two locations where the students were able to learn, were introduced to STEM concepts, and these were actually high school students. So on the right, these are pictures, I think, from the Nigeria cohort, just happy to have received this knowledge. Job linkages as well. So we are also have, in order to, promote these young women who are joining the STEM, we believe in actually also providing some job opportunities. It's not provided to all. So initiative is very key. The kind of program that you're doing, are you passionate about it? Have you gone a step ahead to do something about it? So as MobiGirlz, we've also been able to give some of our alumni an opportunity to work with us. So we've had opportunities where some of the students who have been part of the MobiGirlz community actually now coming in as Immobilis alumni and working in different departments. So we've had lecturers, we've had interns, we have had other departments assuming MobiGirlz alumni. So yeah. I think my screen has just, so let me just go back to my pitch. So other than the ones that we have assumed as well, when we do get opportunities from different clients, we always also like to refer, especially alumni who are also still in the STEM space. We always refer alumni, and not only in MobiGirlz, but also at the Immobilis community at large. We always refer our students. So over the years, we've been able to do a number of International Girls in ICT Day webinars. This is actually our 4th year. As you can see, in 2020, we're able to invite speakers and do a similar online webinar. In 2021, the same case applies. In 2022 as well. In 2023, we also had one. And in 2023, we also added a challenge, a portfolio challenge to the girls. So these are the girls who are actually currently Immobilis students. We challenged them to create a portfolio that could help them even after their studies here at Immobilis. So from that particular challenge, we had 5 students present during the International Girls in ICT Day last year, with the top 3 being awarded some cash awards. So it was really nice to see what the girls could do, the kind of portfolio they could create. We had the judges who are actually the speakers for International Girls in ICT Day, give them pointers to how to improve. So this year we want to challenge not only the girls, but also the men who are currently undertaking our courses to create their own portfolio, because we believe, I know that the speakers will have their time just to give some tips, some tricks, and how to actually navigate the tech space. But a portfolio is one thing that is very, very key, because being in the tech space, the portfolio will speak for you. So we were happy to have these girls do an amazing job. We've also had a UI UX workshop where we invited a speaker who is an industry expert in UI UX to help them understand how to create applications that are user-friendly, visually appealing, and something that would be really nice for a client, for yourself. So this was back in 2023. We've also been able to organize meet and greets, so virtual and physical. So this one, we were introducing the alumni to the alumni community, what it entails and the kind of activities. Similarly, for this one, we were also inviting the alumni to know more about the community and also have a speaker to speak to them. We've been able to have social media days tweet chat where we had different speakers talk about the industry, talk about how social media is really relevant and how they can leverage social media even for just an online brand. Next, we had the STEM event that we conducted last year. So last year, we realized that one of the needs that was in the community is they were not really aware on how to go about interviews. So our community is mixed. We have those who are straight from high school. We have those who are university graduates. We have those who are currently in university. And we have those who are already past all these stages and are corporates and are working. So we had a session where we invited technical recruiters. They spoke to our ladies, give them tips on how to prepare for an interview, be it online, what are the stages in interviews. You'll find that for these technical courses, there are different stages. So how do you prepare for these interviews and what do you need, the do's and don'ts for any interview. So that is what we did last year. And in this particular day, we also introduced our mentorship program. So since last year until this year, March, we've had our first ever mentorship program where we've been able to, it was a 6 months program. It was volunteer mentors. We leveraged on our community. So our alumni who have gone through our programs and are doing amazing things were able to offer their time to actually mentor girls. So we had at least around 15 girls mentored. And now we're using this time to evaluate and see how better to improve the cohort 2 that is coming. So we'll also open up the mentorship program in case you're here and you want to be mentored, or in case you're here and you want to give back and actually mentor young women who are trying to navigate the tech world. We would be willing and very ready to have you. So next are just some of the plans we have for this year. Of course, to have more of these webinars, physical, virtual, to have more trainings, to have meetups, to engage, have more partnerships that will be able to enable us to do much, much more. And also just to do also visiting to different companies, startups, the top tech companies, so that even the girls who are starting off in this tech field can get first-hand experience of what challenges on the ground, how do you navigate the tech field, and etc. So these are just some testimonials from our participants. And that is basically it. That's just a very brief overview of MobiGirlz, who we are and what we do, so that you get to understand some of the programs that we have been involved in. So I know we might not be able to introduce everyone, but let me just kindly introduce yourself in the chat section. Tell us who you are, maybe what are you currently doing? Are you a student? Are you working? So that people on the chat can get to know each other. I know we are quite a number, so we may not be able to do like one-on-one and hear who everyone is and what they're currently working. But kindly, let's just introduce ourselves in the chat section. In case there are any questions as well, please feel free to use the chat. And now I'll go to our brief video before I introduce the first speaker, Madam Catherine Wanjiru, who is a research AI engineer. So as we digest the first part, which is basically the MobiGirlz overview, let's introduce ourselves on the chat section and get to know each other. So let me just do the video and then we'll go straight into our first speaker.
I learned about the program from my brother. and the skills I've gained from here, I've learned how to code, I've learned graphic design.
My name is Lorraine. I can say whatever I've learned here for the 2 weeks, it's something that I didn't know when I came here, and I believe it's going to help me in future.
My name is Anne Bua. I'm an entrepreneur, but I've been in employment for the last 10 years.
My name is McLeod Bondo. I've been in the IT industry for the last 40 years, and I'm very excited with this MobiGirlz event that has taken place today.
For Erastus, I'm managing director at Megacap Limited, where we do business strategy and management consultancy. I've been invited at MobiGirlz. It's an excellent program where they're training young ladies, young Kenyan ladies on digital skills, software development, and digitizing the world basically. The boot camp that I have just participated in has been quite impressive. The girls came up with projects that are going to solve real problems in the market.
My name is Angela Bilhangri. I am an economics student in the Catholic University of Eastern Africa. I learned about MobiGirlz specifically through my sister, Susan Dage. MobiGirlz has been nice. We have had really nice classes and lecturers, and I've really enjoyed the process. I would encourage other girls to actually join the program.
Okay, sawa sawa. So thank you so much for joining in. I can see we are quite a number. Continue introducing yourself from the chat section. You never know. Your network is here. You know, the next job, the next colleague, the next business is probably on this call. So kindly let's continue introducing ourselves on the chat section. So before we invite our first speaker, because I know we are here to listen to our wonderful speakers, let me just quickly just go through my screen. I should have said this in the first, as I was actually introducing. So let me just quickly go to the rules. Yeah, please, we would like to use official names. Great thing I'm seeing most of us are using our official names. Let's just mute ourselves in case, just so that we can make sure that there are no interruptions. And also in case you have any questions, we will have the Q&A at the very end. But also in case there's any issue, if you can't hear us well, please do let us know in the chat section so that we rectify that immediately. And otherwise, just make sure you enjoy this webinar, ask questions, ensure you don't come out of here with that question unanswered. So basically, that's it. These are our lovely speakers for the day. Catherine, Wanjiru, Njeri, Nderitu, Joylynn, Kirui, Beryl, Nekesa. They're amazing, amazing speakers, and you'll get to hear from them. So now I think we are ready for our first speaker, Madam Catherine Wanjiru. She is a research AI engineer at IBM Research Africa. Her expertise in AI solutions for health, finance, ethics, and also collaborating and academics with African countries. I know I've not done justice to that maybe intro, but I would love for her to just join us. Yes, fine. Oh, nice to see you, Catherine. She can introduce herself now properly. Maybe just tell us more about yourself, Catherine. Tell us who you are, how has your journey been that you're now a research AI engineer? I know most of us are like, research AI engineer. And right now AI is the talk. So yeah, feel free to introduce yourself, Catherine.
Sure, thanks, Claire. I'm hoping you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you clearly.
Awesome. Yeah, so as Claire introduced me, my name's Catherine Wanjiru. I actually do prefer to go by Wanjiru.
just so you know. But anyway, so my journey in tech, it started when I was in undergrad. So I did my undergrad in computer science in Masinde Muliro. That was like 3 years ago. And when I was an undergrad student, I basically tried out everything. So I found myself once an Android developer. I became a web dev. I even did an IoT project until I discovered machine learning. And that was the thing that gave me satisfaction. So I was curious about what was happening behind the scenes, more like how are these models working? How are the predictions good? Because there's good and there's bad data in. You give it bad data, you get bad predictions. So I was interested in the theory behind that. So typically that's research, and that's how I ended up in AI research. So I went back to school and studied research in AI, so not specifically ML, so more like the mathematics behind all these models. So yeah, that's sort of how I ended up in a research role. So it was just of trial and error until I found something that worked for me. So right now my role as a research AI engineer, the engineer part is because of my background in computer science. So I have all these coding skills, and there was a role that required both. So that's how I am. So I do both engineering and research work. Yeah.
Oh, wow, that's amazing. So I think now at least people have gotten to understand how you got into this research AI engineer position. So I know you have done quite a number of projects. So maybe could you share with us maybe a project that you feel in your case was the one project that you really love that made a positive impact to yourself and maybe to the community at large?
Yep. Yeah, sure. I have worked in a couple of them. But one that stood out was a project I was collaborating with other universities specifically in Uganda, Nigeria, and Senegal. So I was working with professors in these universities and students also. And the project was going through a couple of domains. So we were doing health, policy, and now applying AI to that. We were trying to see how the COVID policies that were implemented during the COVID period, what effects they had in healthcare. So typically did a sick mother able to go to the hospital? Did you have more dead babies, or we call them maternal deaths, due to COVID policies? So we were looking more into that data, and this was a really interesting project because the impact that came out was the government or the policymakers were able to see once you implement something, it has like a roll down effect to other people. And this was pretty interesting, seeing the professors now training the health policy people, because it was IBM, then we work with the schools, and then the schools now go to the ground people to train them. So that was really interesting to see the team understanding exactly what was happening. And in addition to that, we also had to train the professors data science. So seeing them just pick up these new skills and being able to use them was also amazing. Yeah.
Oh, wow, nice. Nice to see that you are affecting different even industries, from healthcare workers and the different professors. So I know on our call, we have a diverse kind of audience. We have students, we have professionals, we have people who are transitioning into tech. And, from what you've said, many people are wondering, hey, how did you get into IBM? What are the skills that you need to have? Especially now that you've said you're AI and you needed to go back to school, also just to do a bit of learning and research. So maybe could you share some skills and maybe if there are specific certifications that the audience would really benefit so that they know, oh, so if I want to go into this line, these are the kind of things I need to actually ensure I have. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, that's okay. So in research, so there are two paths. You could either go into academia or go into industry, and we can see industry research being more these days. Opening ChatGPTs from an industrial research thing. We're seeing more things from research. So if you want to go into the industrial research area of things, you have to know some basic coding skills, because typically you won't just be creating new models. You also have to know how to deploy them, or sort of get inferences from them, make the models better. So I'd say like basic coding skills for an industry level research role. Of course, when they're hiring, they'll ask for more things, but it's basically basic coding skills and a little bit of understanding of mathematics, because as a researcher, you'll definitely need to work with that. And this goes back to how are the models working. In academia, this requires you to go back to school, typically. So these are the PhD students who end up being lecturers. They end up being professors or fellows in school. So that typically just means you have to go find a program that's good for you and go back. The good thing is you can apply for PhD program with the undergrad degree. So I knew that after I had done my master's. So you can just go from bachelor's to PhD, and PhDs are typically free. So just find a good program. And there are a lot of scholarships for women, and especially if also you're Black. So you can find many Black/women scholarships out there. Yeah, that's what I'd say in a nutshell.
Oh, very interesting. I didn't know you can go from bachelor's to PhD. I always thought, there's a system that you have to go through. Okay, that's very interesting. And now that you said as women, there are very many opportunities. So at IBM Research Africa, do you guys have probably programs or initiatives that are actually targeting women in tech? Do you have any of those?
Yeah, there are a couple, and these are also based on your interests. So since IBM is sort of like a huge umbrella company, we do have the corporate and the research side. If you're interested in more corporate industry things, we have a MEA, Middle East, Africa, and Europe, I guess. I think that's what it means, the MEA thing, Women in Tech, and they have discussions on how to grow your career, how to fit as a woman and all that. If you're interested in research, so this just boils down to a local lab, like whatever I'm working on, we have like encouraged one-on-ones with other ladies who are like PhDs, who have their PhDs. And this is more like trying to figure out what is the best path for you. As for me, I don't have a PhD yet. I just have a master's. And the idea is they're supposed to help you know, do you want to go back to school, or do you want to continue your track in industry and just continue doing papers, patterns, more software? So it's more of it's not a one-size-fits-all in the research thing. It's now boils down to who are you talking to. And our managers are pretty good at knowing what works for you. So they're open to feedback. And if your manager knows, I'm no longer interested in doing research, they'll just find a better way for you to be able to fit in that role and do like an engineering sort of role and grow in that. So yeah, very different from what we see out here. So research is a bit different.
Okay, so maybe let me ask this. So if I'm here as a student straight from high school, maybe I've joined the MobiGirlz or any other short program now to help me, and I've decided probably this is the way I want to go tech, AI as you have. Like for you, how did you manage to join IBM? Was it that you applied to many other jobs, this came along, and the IBM process, was it just one interview and go, you got in, or there was a process? Maybe just share that journey, that bit. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. I joined IBM as an intern. So there was a call for interns during the COVID time, probably 2021. I interned with them, and I actually never met any of them it was WebEx, so virtual calls. I applied normally and I got in for an interview. So the interview processes, at least for the internship, I had to do a coding test. There were 3 questions. So there was a data structures and algorithms, there was a database question, and then a system sort of like database systems, something. It's long ago. And then after that, I had like 2 more sets of interviews now with people from the team, just to figure out if I can be a good fit for that. After that it was just now HR and other things. So after my internship, since I was able to do a paper and also do some code for them, that was really helpful. I just got a full-time offer. So for that, just coming back. So I don't have experience applying for like an entry-level position. Mine was like, you can come back after you're done with school.
Oh, that's amazing. That's really amazing to see that you got in as an intern and also now are able to actually have a full-time job. That's amazing. So now that you're in this AI space, and right now AI is the talk everywhere. Many companies are moving towards it. So maybe one question that a lot of people are asking, will AI replace humans, or is it coming to assist? That is the controversial question before I actually go to the actual question. So do you think it will replace, it's coming to assist? What's your view?
Yeah, you just dropped the question. This is recorded so they can quote me.
Okay.
Not my views in this scenario is it's not really going to replace you as an AI expert. It might replace maybe normal roles that happen on a daily, things that are repeated, things that if you wake up today, you do them the same way tomorrow. There's not really an innovation type of thing. So if they are rule-based, if a model is trained to do that, possibly how good the model will perform, that is dependent on how the company is willing to go with errors on that one. But now the other thing is all these AI models are running on infrastructure, and infrastructure is not cheap. So companies are investing in GPUs, hosting all these infrastructures. So like a great skill to learn right now will be DevOps, like knowing how to manage these models on clusters, how to make sure things are not failing. So that will be like a nice skill, because that now just moves on to the infrastructure of GPUs. And I'll just leave you with a question that one of my managers asked us on Monday. Are you valuable than a GPU? So if a company is buying GPUs, why should they keep you? So.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Okay, food for thought. So I think my last question would be, now with this emerging, evolving trends, all these things that are coming up, how do you stay current with these evolving trends and make sure you're up to speed? You're not haujachwa nyuma, you're there and you know what is happening.
Yeah, that's a tough one, because it's easy to get lost in all things that are coming up and trying to understand everything. But there should be courses that are curated for this kind of things. So you can find a course that is has curated content on a topic that you are really interested in. I know prompt tuning is something that's growing. There should be a course out there. Instead of just browsing, finding prompt tuning things that you'll get lost at that one way. There's a lot of information out there for you. You definitely get lost. So finding something, either a book, a course, a tutorial, anything curated to what you find interesting, that will be a nice way to go. And after you have learned, so always have a project to back up what you know. So it's about
Amazing. Thank you so much for that. For sure, yeah, a lot of things are happening, and it sometimes it's really hard to keep up, honestly. I mean, maybe that's not even in your field, then you have to keep up with it, which is very true, Catherine. So I think those are the questions I had for you, Catherine. I don't know if there's maybe one or two pressing questions from the audience that I can allow, just one or two, and then we'll move on. Remember, we still have a Q&A at the very end. So yeah, Catherine is still here with us. So maybe any one or two. I am seeing Terry, your mic is on. Do you have any pressing question, Terry? Okay, sawa, Elsie. We'll have Elsie, and then in case there are any pressing questions, we can have the chat section. Catherine is here with us. Oh, sorry, Wanjiru. She said she prefers Wanjiru. Wanjiru is here with us. So Elsie, please go ahead, Elsie.
Hi, Wanjiru. I am Elsie. Yes, I I think mine is more of a personal question. I think for me in my journey, at the moment, I feel like I'm stagnating. Like I am a data analyst. I just finished school, but I don't want to do masters. I have just gone to check your LinkedIn. I'm like, who is this Wanjiru Catherine? So I'm just from checking your LinkedIn and just scrutinizing you. And I've seen you did your masters at Carnegie Mellon. So I'm like, okay, at what point did you decide to take your masters, and what motivated you? Like, what was the insight for you to be like, okay, now I'm ready to do this masters? Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Elsie. Hopefully my LinkedIn is okay. So for me, my motivation to do my master's was wanting to understand how the machine learning models were doing the predictions and everything. So I could be able to do maybe a linear regression and get some good results, but that wasn't enough for me personally. Like my satisfaction wasn't really okay. I know I could maybe find better data, improve my model, but that wasn't enough for me. How is this thing being able to do this? So that's sort of how I realized I'm more curious in things. And that meant like research might be a better fit for me as a person. And at that point, I didn't know I could do a PhD. So if I knew, I would have gone straight for a PhD. But then a master's was also an option. So I looked for a master's program around me. I had not had good things from other master's program. So I started talking to people, and when I talked to people from CMU, they said you learn things that you're interested in, especially in the AI field in research. So I came out of that program at least understanding why these models work, what equations are happening behind maybe a regression, you're doing a gradient fit, sort of those things. I'm not sure if that answers your question.
Yeah, it does. I think it's something that I'm not thinking. I think you mentioned you are able to navigate from Android developer to web, like you've jumped into different things. So I'm like, did you have someone holding your hand? Like, what was making you be aware, okay, this is not working for me, and you're able to like restart again on something new, refocus, then it's not working? Like, what or who? Because I feel like I am in the lost period. That's why I'm at like, I have been chasing data science for the past like 3 years. It's working out for me, like I'm gaining industrial experience. But every time I want to restart, I make the mistake of redoing it, not per se redoing something new. So I don't know how to I think for me it's the restarting. How do you restart? Like it's formatting your past and picking something new. Yeah.
It takes courage. There's a risk with dropping everything and trying something new. Of course, there's that risk. For me, I didn't have any mentors back then, but then the GDGs played a really good role in that. So there were like communities that were doing Android and web dev, and at some point they gave us IoT kits to try out things. So we'll join these meetups maybe for a couple of times, do an Android project, and yeah, I didn't get the fun of that. Then move on to a different team, do a web. It doesn't make sense. And then IoT. So for me, the GDGs really created like an environment where I could try out different things at that time. Yeah, but I understand where you're coming from. Yeah, there's a risk with leaving what you're doing right now and switching to another thing. So maybe you can think of it as adding a new skill. Instead of dropping data, what else would you love to do? And maybe start working on like upskilling on that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Elsie, for those amazing questions. I know you're speaking for a lot of people. Thank you so much, Catherine, Wanjiru, for being our first speaker.
Oh, we might have lost Claire. Okay, she's back.
Sorry for that, guys. Sorry. I'm back. Sorry. Yeah, thank you so much, Wanjiru, for being our first speaker. We appreciate you. We shall now move on to our next speaker. And I was just saying thank you to everyone. I know I got cut off somewhere in the middle, but thank you all for introducing yourselves. And we shall continue the conversation. So now I would like
Thank you, Claire, for having me too.
Great. Sawa. We'll still have you at the very end during the Q&A. So now I would like to invite the second amazing speaker. And then after that, we'll go for a bit of a teaser just to relax our minds. You know, the information will be a lot. So next up, we have Njeri Nderitu. She is a product and digital marketing consultant with at least 6 years of experience and also the founder of Nderitu Consulting. Wow, lovely to have you here, Njeri.
Good morning, guys. Thank you for having me.
Great. So I think we can get right into it. Just, tell us more about yourself and what you're currently doing, how you got there. Yeah, karibu.
Sure. Allow me to share my screen. I've just prepared something small. Don't feel as confident as Catherine just to I had to put it down.
No worries. Yeah, you can share.
Perfect. So let me try. Chrome. You'll tell me once you can see my screen, tafadhali.
Yes.
Can you see my screen? Awesome.
Yes.
So perfect. If at any time I get lost or I go off track, please nirudishe back. So I'll introduce myself. My name is Njeri, as said. Currently digital and product marketing. That's my area of expertise and that's my career. So today I'm proud and honored to be able to give you guys my point of view and my journey. So I'll kick us off. So the person who is Njeri. So I've had over 6 years experience in marketing, worked in various industries such as FMCG, health, tech, and real estate. And like my previous speaker, I didn't have like a linear or one industry where I've grown in or stuck in because I've had more than 6 years of experience. So I've been able to work in different sectors, but within the same digital and product marketing sphere. So I help brands cultivate loyal customers by crafting data-driven strategies that drive impactful results. Below are just some of the brands I've worked with, like BioOil. If anyone here knows BioOil, just raise your hand on the chat section. If anyone knows Brighter Monday, just tell me. Brighter Monday, there's chat section. We're in Kenya. If you've ever heard of it, just tell me. Huggies, Cortex, and Umsizi. So the interesting thing about my career and my span of career is BioOil, for example, is a manufacturing company which I've worked with. Brighter Monday is a service provider company. So they connect employers with employees. Huggies, for moms in the house, I'm sure you know Huggies. Cortex, for every woman and man, because some of you may not have been told to go buy a specific brand, you know what Cortex is. Beryl Kenya is a portal for real estate. So, and then Umsizi is one of my clients who are they're a law firm. So as you can see, I've had such dotted all over the place when it comes to industries and companies that I've worked with. But at the end of the day, I'm still focused on the product and digital marketing career path. So just an icebreaker before I get more into me. It's so hard for me to talk about me. So let me do a small icebreaker. So on the comment section, guys, tell me, when did you first create your social media account? Which platform? And what was the first thing you posted? Drop it in the chat. That's our first icebreaker. Oh, I see Betty knows BioOil. That's cool. Elsie, I can see your hands up, so I'm guessing you know one of the brands I've worked with. Yeah, just answer my 3 questions before now we get into the drop in the chat. Oh wow, Claire. Facebook 2014. I can't remember my first phone. Yes. 2010, Beryl. Oh my gosh. I can't remember the first post, but it was Facebook. 2011, also 2015, so 2014. I see 90% of the first platforms everyone had an account in was Facebook, 2011. That was around the time, which is very interesting. So yeah, keep them coming. We'll read them more and more. Instagram, wow. Wow, I can now tell your age, guys. I can tell who are who are millennials and who are 2019 TikTok. Wow. Never had an account before TikTok. That's such an interesting wow, guys. I can already tell the kind of audience I'm dealing with. So Instagram babies and TikTok babies, I can't relate. We were the OGs of Facebook. So as you keep dropping, I'll now get into the kickoff about my journey so that you can understand more. So my journey, unlike my previous panelist who went before me, her journey seems to have been a bit more linear than mine. So I'll just take you guys through it. I graduated in 2016 in USIU Africa. My first Facebook post I was checking today was in 2010. Actually, no. Yeah, 2008. They're about 2008. That was my first post. And I was posting about as TV series I was watching at that time. So that was such an interesting TBT for me. At that time, Facebook was introduced to me as a social channel. Never in a million years would I have thought my work would be around that social media platform. And that's now what digital is all about. But let me not get into that. Let me start my journey. So I started in 2016, USIU Africa, graduated in marketing and finance. At this time, to be honest, I also did not know what I was going to do with my life. So one of the questions was, how do you know, guys? Sometimes you don't know, so you go with faith. Sometimes you go with passion, but then passion changes as your interests grow and change. So when I started, I just did a random ambiguous course, which was International Business Administration underway. Sorry, just give me a second. Yes. So under that time, I specialized in marketing and finance. Marketing and finance is such a weird mix, but I loved understanding where money goes, and I really enjoyed marketing. So I wanted to combine the two, and USIU gave me that opportunity. So at this point, my journey, before even I graduated, I joined several clubs. So that's one of my advice. The lessons have started, guys. If you are asking, this is where the lessons have started from the very beginning. When I was in school, I joined different clubs. And one of the clubs I was in, which was a business club, I ended up becoming head of marketing. So this, again, gave me practical skills as much as I was still in school. I had a budget of $1 million per semester. And my gosh, my mind just went crazy, did all the above the line marketing and all the billboards, everything. So that was such an exciting time. And that was the time for me I knew I was on the right path, because this was the second year. And the second year is when you're supposed to now choose your major. So after I got this role, I was convinced marketing is something I want to pursue. At the same time, I was in USIU. So again, we had a culture where we would go out and you go with some of your friends and you're like, how much are you guys getting for pocket money? And then I realized very fast, I need to get a job. So we used to have like 3-month holiday breaks. And that's the first time I thought to myself, why not just go and get a job? Again, guys, you keep telling yourself, I need to graduate, I need to have papers, but all you need to do is get out of the house. I went and got a job at an expo at KICC. Again, in the comment section, do you guys remember the Egyptian expos, which used to happen in KICC? I think they still happen at the Sarit Center. But then the first time I heard about it, they used to do ads on TV and everything. They were there at KCC. If yes, just drop it on the comment section. So that was my first job. So I walked up to the guy, told him, I'm looking for a job. He told me, you need to be here this time to this time. English was a problem. They were speaking in Arabic. But then I knew what I wanted, and I wanted cash because I was on my holiday break. So that was my first job. Again, lessons here is you don't need that degree. You need to just put yourself out there. You will get something. Put yourself out there. I didn't even know anyone. There was no connections, no nothing. I just knew it was starting on this day. So in my head, I was like, if it's starting tomorrow, they're probably setting up a day before. So I showed up there a day before. I stayed there from 9 a.m. to around 2 p.m. before I got somebody who allowed me to come work with them. So again, some of the lessons right from the bat. After which, immediately after I finished my coursework, I was supposed to graduate in September. I finished my coursework in March. So I was asking myself, what am I doing home between March and September? Do I wait for that? Do I wait for that paper? And remember, even if you graduate, most of them don't give you your certificate in the same day, even the same week or the same month. You'll probably have to wait a month longer. So in my head, the math was not mathing. And I was like, let me just try. That's why, thank God for technology. And like back then, where there was something called tamaking, you guys need to Google that word. For those who are TikTok first time as your account, and those who their first account was on Instagram, Google what tamaking was. That was how people used to get jobs before. But at the time I was finishing uni, that's when the internet space in Kenya was really booming. So on Facebook is where I saw actually their ad. They were looking for 3 roles. They're looking for an intern for marketing, they're looking for an intern for copywriting, and they're looking for an intern for telesales. Guess what, guys? I applied for all the 3 roles. I knew at the end of the day, I wanted to be in a marketing role, but telesales has something to do with sales, which as you can see already, I had the sales job, so I could put that on my resume, right? And use that. They also had the copywriting gig. I had no idea what I was going to copyright. In my head, I'm like, what is this copywriting? But I will figure out. That's like, go with the ignorance of a child. You will look, in your head, you're like, why am I even applying for this job? But you can do it. Just have that mindset, you can do it. And if it's in line with your career path, just a little bit deviated, but in line with what you're trying to do, go for it. That's my advice. So lesson number 2, dropped over there. So at Byrant, I didn't get the marketing intern role. I actually got the telesales role. So I was sitting on the phone, calling people, listening to customers. So that was my first real life experience with customers. And I really got to understand the business better than I thought I would. So I'm very grateful I started at the telesales role. This then, now when the marketing intern who was picked at that time, when I joined, I found them already there. They had moved on to another company. So the position was vacant. And again, guys, if you get any opportunity, put your best foot forward. Do your best. And that's what happened here. I did my best in the telesales. Never have I ever been hanged up on so much in my life. Never have I ever been shouted at on a call in my life. But these are some of the experiences that led me have a very good sense of who the customer was. So even when I entered into the marketing intern role, I already knew who our clients were and what are their pain points. So I was able to even contribute. Again, my the previous speaker did mention, if you get a role, she was an intern and then got confirmed. So whatever role, however small it is, however mundane you might think it is, do your best, put your foot forward, and people will see. I promise you, people will see. You will not know who's seeing, but someone will see. So that is in 2016. At that time, when I joined marketing, when I was in USIU, actually, what we learned under marketing were the 4 Ps. Anyone knows what the 4 Ps are under marketing? I'm waiting on the chat box. Does anyone know the 4 Ps under marketing? I'm waiting. 4 Ps in marketing. So the 4 Ps are price, place, promotion, and product. So we were really taught the traditional type of marketing at that time. And that was the time when Facebook was really coming up in 2016 and doing ads around Facebook and the different platforms. So my first week as a marketing intern, guys, I burned 2,000 USD in 24 hours. This was supposed to be the budget for the month, but then I set the ads up at like 4 p.m., went home, did my own thing, came back the next day, so happy, but I was so distracted, I never really took the time. So by the time I actually went back into the system to check how the ad was performing, shock on me, 2,000 USD already banned. Again, here's another lesson. You will, in this instance, my boss was very, very, very understanding, which on hindsight, it's crazy, 2,000 USD. And even the amount I was being paid as an intern was 8,000 per month. So if you tell me you have to pay back 2,000 USD, there was nowhere I would have found that money. So my second lesson is you will make mistakes, but learn from them. So how did I learn from them? I went and started looking for certifications. So the first certificates I did was the Google Ads and the Facebook Blueprint certificates, because these were the ad platforms I was going to use and I'll be using for this. So take each mistake as a challenge for you to be better, to do better. And the certificates, professional certificates, are free, especially for digital marketing. So you have no excuse why not to upskill. I'll move on. Between then, 2017 and 2019, the company I was in, it was acquired. So an international multinational company called Ringier Africa. They're based in Germany. They came and bought the company I was in, and all of us had to reapply for our jobs. My heart has never been in my mouth as of that moment. I had to reapply for my job afresh. And let me tell you guys, doing this certification is one of the things that allowed them or allowed me to be able to be absorbed, because there are some people who lost their job during the merger. But these are some of the things I did a mistake. I learned from it, went and did something to upskill myself. So by the time they were coming a year later, I was in a very good place and I had the certifications to show that I know what I'm doing. So I got absorbed into the company and became the official paid ads under digital marketing, focusing on paid ads. So as you can see, all these things you're doing, as on hindsight, it has an effect. In a jiza, it'll be, you might not understand it now, or you might not see the benefits right now, but keep upskilling, it will help you. Again, because I learned very fast in 2016, you need to upskill yourself. Hard skills, soft skills, you need to. So I again went for another certification. This is Google Analytics certification, which is a relevant certification for digital marketer. So this is something I did during my time here at Ringier. Again, these are some of the certifications and all the, remember from USIU 2016 to about 2019, I hadn't gone back to school, but I was doing all these other certifications, right? So this is what's been helping me with my growth trajectory. Because again, as I mentioned, when I was in USIU, marketing was the traditional type of marketing. Billboards, TV ads. So you had digital ads was nothing. I never even heard of digital marketing until I joined Byron. So again, upskill yourself wherever you can. And that's where I joined Kasha. Kasha is an e-commerce platform for women. I know some of you know it or must have heard of it or used it, some of the women in the group. So this was my tenure between 2019 and 2021. While at Kasha, as a marketing manager, I got my first leadership role. I was leading teams in Kenya and Uganda. So going from burning 2,000 USD, and in my head, I'm like, I am done, I'm finishing this industry, to becoming a regional digital marketing manager was no small feat. But then all these things I've been doing in the background really helped me grow. And then COVID happened. For some people, COVID was, for their careers, it was detrimental. But to be honest, for my career, it was the first time that Kenyans and businesses in Kenya understood the urgency and the need for digital marketing. So it was no longer a luxury, but a must-have. So that was my opportunity. At this time, I used to get a lot of clients and referrals. Well, I was even at Kasha. As you can see, I started my consultancy while at Kasha. This consultancy started with one client, and then it went well, and then the ripple effect, word of mouth is the strongest type of marketing out there, and nothing can beat word of mouth. So that's how I started in 2020 while still employed under Kasha. So during that time, I'm happy to announce I'm an Jira digital alumni. I did go through the program. Again, my motto is upskill, upskill, upskill. If you stagnate, if you stop learning, you die. Or your career dies. Not you, your career dies. Sorry for being so dramatic. But yes, so I did get my certification from Jira 2020 as I'm doing my consultancy. At that time, I got a client, which is Kimfe. Kimfe is a manufacturing company and also a distribution and marketing company. They are the ones which have the brands Huggies, Cortex underneath. And I was the digital lead between 2020 up to last year, end of last year, December. So during my time at Kimfe, some of the biggest major lessons, as you can see, I went from e-com to manufacturing, from real estate platform to e-com. As you can see, my career path has never been like a straight line. It's been linear, but then it's also been a step and a step based on all the things and the learnings I got. When I was at Kimfe, I started getting more and more into leadership. So I wanted to upskill on my soft skills. So I subscribed for McKinsey Forward program. This is a free program by McKinsey and Company under the McKinsey academic wing. So this is free and they target women. As my previous speaker said, if you're a woman, you're Black, I'll use her words, you have a great advantage, and there are all these programs and scholarships, as you can see what MobiGirlz is doing also. So take advantage, guys, take advantage. You have no excuse. And then currently, as we speak, I went back to consultancy as of end of 2023, because again, I got more, now I'm working with more brands, and I found something interesting about myself. I get bored very fast whenever I'm in an industry for too long, and I feel like I'm not making an impact anymore. So I move on. So as a consultant, I have that luxury of working with real estate firms. I have luxury working with law firms. So that's why I went back to consultancy as we speak. Any questions on your end? And I believe that is my journey. Yeah.
Amazing. I think you've been able to actually answer so many of my questions. You've talked about your journey, how you started your consultancy. You've gone about and given advice in the different areas that you've worked on. You've also given us your challenging experience of earning $2,000 USD in your first internship. So I think you've actually been able to, yeah. You've actually been able to answer all my questions that I had. Now maybe I'll have maybe one pressing question from the audience. As you can see today, we have a variety of speakers. We have had the research AI engineer, Wanjiru. Now we're having a digital marketing consultant. So any pressing questions for Njeri? One pressing question before we move to the next. We have our bit of break. Anyone who has a pressing question for Njeri? Okay, we have Leslie. Yes, Leslie, you can feel free to unmute and then speak.
Okay, thank you. Njeri, your career journey is looking fantastic.
Crazy is the word.
I think my question, though it has been answered in your journey, is at any given point in the places you've worked, have you ever felt like what you have is really not enough, and how have you gone about it to like reassure yourself in terms of maybe what they're giving or what you're doing for them is not being replicated evenly, something of the sort?
So if Leslie, I'll just repeat it back and tell me if I've gotten it right. So the question has two parts, right? So part one is, have I ever found myself not having the skills needed?
Yes.
And the second part is, have I not gotten I feel like I'm giving more than I'm getting, or is that correct?
Yeah, for the second one. For the first one, even though you have the skills, have you ever felt like they are not enough for the place that you're actually working in? Maybe comparison to other people that you're working with?
100%. Thanks for that question. So I had two light bulb moments in my career. So I'll start here with 2016 when I banned the 2000 USD. The day I went on Google and switched USD to Kenya shillings, remembering I'm being paid 8,000 per month, and I banned 2,000 in. I even calculated how many months do I have to work in this company for me to pay it back. It was coming to about 6 months of free labor for me to be able to pay back the 2,000 USD. So that was the first time it hit me. I might be in over my head. So the immediate effect was, of course, I want to give up. I want to just crawl under a rock and sit there. But what I did, I went and signed up for these certifications. Like the Google Ads certification, before you get that certificate, it's like a 3-month program. It's intense. And that certificate at that time is not as easy as now. Again, at that time, we knew AI. To be honest, digital marketers knew AI before everyone else, because we keep encountering AI in every facet of our lives. So let me show you guys something. Like at this time, digital marketing paid ads, this is no longer a role in this company. AI replaced this need. So those are some of I've encountered AI so much in my journey that to answer, it was not my question, but to answer the previous question that was asked to the speaker, AI is here. It will always be here. It has always been here. It's just that now we know about it. So don't have that mindset that, oh, it's replacing me. Ask yourself, what can I do? Can I go get a certificate just to learn? A certificate in AI, but related to marketing. So don't feel downtrodden or like your job is at risk. If you stop learning, you stop growing. That's it. Doesn't matter if it's AI tomorrow. It doesn't matter if it's the young guys graduating. If you stop learning, you stop growing. That's my biggest learning. To answer your second part, have I ever felt like I'm giving more? Let me tell you something, mine. In 2020, when I started my consultancy, I worked for clients. I would go all out. Clients will not pay you, or they pay you 3 months down the line. That time you're already knee deep in debt because you're already using money that in your head is already there but hadn't hit your account. They keep telling you cash or cash or cash or check tomorrow, or they stop answering your calls altogether. There are others who make you do proposals. My gosh, you will do an audit, you'll do a proposal, you'll do all these things, and they'll never come back to you. 2 months later, you go on their social media, you're seeing your same strategy. Of course, it can't be implemented the same way you had envisioned it, but it's the same basic foundation. So those are some of the points. So when I went back to employment, hey, I needed a break. I needed to breathe. At this time, I was suffocating. I won't lie, because I was so green and so many people took advantage of that fact. So for me, this was also another aha moment in my life. So even when I joined Ajira Digital, one of the best, I enjoyed it so much because part of the course they were showing us how to do freelancing. Some of the lessons at the end of the course is how you can do freelancing, how you can register, and they even have mentors or trainers who already in the field. So me doing Ajira Digital really helped me just figure out how to go about this freelancing aspect, even looking at stuff like affiliate marketing. So yes, so those are, I hope I've answered your questions.
Yes, thank you.
Perfect.
Okay. Thank you so much, Leslie, for that. Thank you, Njeri, for that wonderful presentation. In case there are any other burning questions, maybe we can have it on the chat. Now I'd like us to do like a small breather. And Njeri, I know you're still with us, so we'll do a bit more, maybe during the Q&A side. So now I'd like to invite the Bean team, either I've seen Paul Nyaga here, or is it Eric, to give us a bit of a game. We've had a long session, so maybe give us a game, and then we'll go to our next speaker, Joylynn, Kirui. So maybe we can do the game for like 5 to 7 minutes, and then we'll have our next speaker, Joylynn, go next. Yes, so Eric, take it away. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Claire. Yeah, happy to join you guys. And we just have a breather quiz kind of thing. It's not hard, it's general questions. And please allow me to share my screen.
I think you can. Try, Eric.
Yes. You can see my screen.
Yeah, yes, we can.
Yeah, so I've just posted the link to the quiz on the chat, and tell me if you all can see the link that I've posted.
Yeah, we can see the link.
Yes, so kindly follow the link, that link, before I start the quiz. Or you can go to menti.com and put the code right there. Yeah, I can see reaction, meaning like people are joining. Keep on joining. Yeah, I can see more people joining. Yeah, I'll just start with the first question. Seems an easy question. Okay, let's go to the next question. Oh, wait for more people to vote to answer the question. I'll go to the next question.
Maybe Eric could give the answers at the end of each of the questions, just to clarify.
Yeah. So the word AI is all over. It's all over these days. So
how many questions do you have? Were they 10?
No, there were like seven of them.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm seeing our 4 minutes are winding up. Maybe we could move a bit faster. Yeah, so I guess the answer here is artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
Next. Yeah, this one seems a bit obvious. Yeah, let's move on to the next one. Yeah, here there will be a problem. Let's see.
Yeah. I remember, Claire, you mentioned this when you're speaking.
Yeah, just give them the correct answer, then move to the next
The answer is 2016. That was when it was formed. Yeah. The hashtag for today's event. Yeah. They all look the same. They could be the hashtag of today. but we only have one hashtag for today. So the correct answer is Innovate with Her. I also thought it's International ICT Girls Day, but the Future Works Online is the default hashtag for most events. So I'll go to the next questions. Yeah, this one is quite obvious, and I can see the results here. So the answer is Giga eradication in Kenya. I'm not sure if Claire, your team plans to do that program. Maybe you can advise us in future. Next is, yep. This is also a tricky one. Yeah, the correct answer actually is jQuery. So jQuery is a framework of JavaScript. So Ruby is a programming language and Java is a programming language. This also was mentioned by Claire when she was explaining about the history of MobiGirlz. Yeah. But she didn't mention the name, but she mentioned the app that was made by the alumni. And I can see most people are getting the correct answer. And the correct answer is an app to track sewer leakage. Maybe you can share more about that maybe in the Q&A. Go to the next. Yeah, and that is the last question.
Thank you very much, Eric. That was a nice icebreaker. Good to see that people are actually listening. So, but I think people were actually choosing what people have seen. So if you see, most people have said artificial intelligence, most people are going there. So maybe next time you see a way that people don't copy each other's answers. But thank you so much. That was a really good icebreaker. We thank you, Eric and Paul, for that. So now, without further ado, I would like to introduce our next speaker, who is Joylynn. Let me just share my screen so that you can see her profile before she comes on. So next we have Joylynn Kirui, who is a senior cloud security advocate at Microsoft and InfoSec evangelist, empowering developers through DevSecOps. I remember Wanjiru mentioned DevSecOps, so I'm sure she'll be able to mention what this is and on GitHub and Azure. So lovely to have you here, Joylynn. Yes.
Thank you, Claire.
Yeah, great. So I think we can just kickstart. Please just introduce yourself, tell us who you are, and probably your journey to being a senior cloud security advocate.
Thank you. My journey has been a long one, and I think I'll need a lot of hours, but yes, as you've heard, my name is Joylynn Kirui. On my handle, you can see my X handle. You can connect with me on LinkedIn and on X as well. Yes, so I have been working for almost 10 years. Yes, I've been in the industry for almost 10 years. I think the way I got into tech was actually my brother got me into tech without knowing. So what we used to do when we were little, you see like a desktop computer, we'd try and open it up and, we're curious. And that's what my brother used to do. So I used to accompany him to do all those things. I remember that was like in 2001. Maybe some of you are not born yet. So we used to, just be curious around the equipment that we have at home, disassemble them and assemble them back. And for me, I did computer throughout, even in primary school, in high school. And I think it was kind of obvious for me to do computer science when in university. And at that time, when I was waiting to get into Nairobi University, they introduced a program for the first time for cybersecurity forensics in USIU Africa. So in Njeri, I'm a proud alumnus as well, class of 2015. I don't know if you remember me. I did applied computer technology with a focus on networking. Funny enough, I don't know why I chose networking, but throughout my years in the university, I was a software developer. I was a full stack software developer. I used to develop even systems in-house for the university and also for other clients. And yeah, I used to, like, it was very nice. I remember even at one point, they featured me in the newspaper, some of the projects that I had done. I think it was very good. And then one time, one of my projects actually got hacked. Yes, and that's why, like very many software developers, software engineers, like I was not putting in the best secure coding best practices whenever I'm building a project or a system. So that's when I went to what I call YouTube University. So YouTube has a lot of resources, but you should use YouTube not only for reels, but for educational purposes. So that's how I got into learning a bit of cybersecurity to introduce into my software development and just to know how I can be able to build more secure products because I didn't want a repeat of what happened. And funny enough, I don't know, I actually say I got myself into cybersecurity by accident. And for sure, like I got in and stuck there. So I graduated from USIU Africa in 2015. At that time, they used to headhunt guys, like in Safaricom used to headhunt people. So I had not applied. I just received a phone call one day saying that I need to come in for an interview. So I just went hesitantly. I found like more than 30 people. I thought, okay, yeah, maybe they're taking a lot of people. It just so happened that they were taking only one person. And luckily, I don't know, it just happened to be me. And so I got into the audit department and using my software development skills to create scripts to find any anomalies within the financial systems within Safaricom. And then I just got introduced to our HOD for cybersecurity at Safaricom at that time. And I pivoted over fully into cybersecurity. Now from information systems auditing to cybersecurity. And in cybersecurity, there are two angles. So there's offensive security and there's defensive security. So I got in as a defensive security, so as a SOC analyst. So that's a security operations center analyst. So I don't know if you've seen the movies whereby there's big screens, there's someone who's always monitoring to see if there's an intruder and then they block it. So that's what I used to do. But that one was not for me for sure. I lasted there for almost 3 weeks. Yeah, so I know most people like enjoy doing defensive security, but for me, I really didn't enjoy it. That's why I just did it for a very short period of time. And at that time, it was interesting that cybersecurity was actually just starting off in Kenya. So a funny fact, in 2016, that's the time when the government mandated that all organizations that are doing financial transactions should have cybersecurity professionals. And at that time, I think we were very, very few of us. So it was just a learning process for all of us. I remember that's even the time when I was one of the founding members for She Hacks Kenya, because we saw that there's a need to have more ladies within cybersecurity. So in terms of training them, in terms of upskilling, and also some organizations were coming through the community to get hires as well. So for me, after my 1 month as a SOC analyst, I went into offensive security. So in offensive security, that's what I call ethical hacking. So I've been an ethical hacker for a better part of 9 years. Huh? Okay, like 8 years or so. Yes, so as an ethical hacker or now as a security assurance officer, you work with the product teams, you work with software engineers to make sure that whatever they're pushing to production is actually secure. So that's what I was doing, working with software engineers, learning from my experience back then when I got hacked, and working with software engineers because most of them don't have that security first mindset. And that's what I was doing. I worked in Safaricom for very many years. I raised ranks until I was a manager. I managed the team of security assurance officers, and it was quite amazing. And we also pioneered a DevSecOps program within Safaricom. So at that time, actually, I think we were the first people in Africa to do like DevSecOps. So DevSecOps is whereby, actually say it's doing DevOps right, because you are integrating security throughout your DevOps processes. So all the way from planning and all the way until your application or your system is running. So you're integrating security throughout your phases. So that's what we call, that's DevSecOps. So DevSecOps is development, security, and operations. And in DevSecOps, we try to work all of us as one, so that we don't have any blame game at the end of the day, because we want the developers to have a security first mindset. We want the operations team to know that they have a stake in security as well. So we are all working together in making sure that we have very few issues at the end of the day. Yes, and you can do this in your CI/CD pipeline. So if you're using Azure DevOps, if you're using GitHub Actions, if you're using GitLab, there are several tools that you can integrate throughout your pipeline to identify security vulnerabilities throughout the software development lifecycle. So that's generally what DevSecOps means. And I'm also publishing a book on DevSecOps on Azure. If you follow me on LinkedIn, I had pinned a post there, so it should be out by next month. Yes, and from that journey of DevSecOps, like pioneering it in let's say Africa, I did also a certification. It's called the Certified DevSecOps Professional, and we were very few of us. Actually, I think we were among the first people to do it in Africa, and it's offered by it's offered by a company called DevSecOps Professional, and I remember it was in 2021. It was a boring Monday. I was just working, and I just decided to scroll through LinkedIn, and then I saw a job post by Microsoft for Senior Cloud Security Advocate. And then I was like, okay, let me just try it. And I tried it. Kumbe, it was a role for the whole globe, but funny enough, I got it. Like, I don't know how I got it, but I got it. Yes, so as a senior cloud security advocate, my role is global. I work with the product groups. So that's in line with some developer security tools like GitHub Advanced Security, like Defender for APIs, because when you're talking about development, you also have to do some API security. We also have Defender for AI. We have a lot of tools within Microsoft. So I work with those products, and I have to master those products and work with customers to demo those sessions, and also within the community events. So it's just more of highlighting what capabilities there are and helping them to unblock as well. Yes, so that's what I've been doing in Microsoft for the last 2 years, 2+ years as a cloud security advocate. And right now, since the era of AI, I had to also upskill a lot. I like that we are all talking about upskilling. Wanjiru talked about it, Njeri talked about it. For me, I had nothing to do, I did nothing to do with AI. I was just a user. So up until last year, now I had to get into AI security. So right now I have to get into the development security of, securely developing AI systems. So even next month, I don't know if any of you know of any Microsoft conferences. So we have Microsoft conference next month called Microsoft Build. So if you want to get into certifications, so normally in Microsoft Build, we shall have a cloud skills challenge afterwards, and we offer free certification. So that's something that you should be able to register for and get a free certification voucher. And just upskill as much as possible. So like in Microsoft Build, I'll be having a session on AI security. And this is the era of AI. For sure, you have to always upskill. Yes, as much as possible. Any question?
I mean, that was amazing, absolutely amazing what you've been able to do for the last 10 years. I mean, let me also tell our audience that you are also named top 50 women in cybersecurity in Africa back in 2020. So congratulations on the book and all the success that you have been able to gain. We are truly proud, and clearly, as women, we're in the right space in tech. So I know you have almost even answered the next question that I had, and it was in terms of these relevant certifications and skills. So you've mentioned Microsoft Build. Is there any other, now that you have both skills in cybersecurity and cloud security, maybe you can try and mention others that our audience would really benefit from?
Oh, yes. So in line with certification, so the thing with Microsoft, we offer free education on learn.microsoft.com. So if you can go there, like if you're interested to be like a developer content, there's a track for that there. If you're interested in data, there's a track for you there. So there's a lot of free resources that's available there. And those learn modules, we also have education. We have exam vouchers. We have exam that are in line with those tracks as well. So the way we usually align them is fundamentals, and then you also have associate, and then you get into the expert. So if you want to be like a cloud security expert, there are certain levels. So for fundamentals certifications, we have the Azure AI Fundamentals, which is AI 900. We have the Azure Fundamentals, the AZ 900. So the AZ 900 for me is what I believe everyone should start, because it gives you a general foundation of cloud computing within Azure. It gives you a general understanding of what resources are available in the cloud, even networking in the cloud. It gives you that general understanding. And then another certification that is in the fundamental space is the Azure Data Fundamentals. That's the DP 900. And then now you get into the associate. So for associate in security, we have the AZ 500. So which is the Azure Security Engineer Associate. We also have SOC Analyst Associate. So remember, I started off as a SOC Analyst. So you can also do SOC analysis in the cloud. Okay. And then there's also another associate certification called Identity and Access Administrator Associate. And there's another one as well called Information Protection and Compliance Administrator Associate. And we also have Windows Server Hybrid Administrator Associate. And then in the expert level, we also have the Certified Architect Expert, which is the SC100. I'll share the links here because I know that was a lot of words. I'll share the links here so you can be able to go through and see which one aligns with you. So I would really advise you, like, register for the conferences, the big conferences that we have at Microsoft, because at the end of the day, you get a free certification, because normally these vouchers are not less than $100. So you'll be saving more than 10K and getting a badge, you'll be getting a verified certification at the end of the day. Yes.
Yeah, great. Oh, thank you so much for that. I think, people are like, okay, where do we start? They were trying to figure it out and also figure out to write down those, but the link will really be beneficial to our audience. So now that you've had, you've worked at Safaricom, you've been a DevSecOps, a SOC analyst, cybersecurity, and now a senior cloud security advocate. Maybe what are some of the challenges you've experienced as a woman in tech or in the tech industry, and how have you been able to overcome some of these challenges?
Yeah, I've experienced many, many, many challenges. Actually, it's a lot. So the space doesn't have a lot of ladies yet. But one thing that I really appreciated about Safaricom is that they were very intentional about getting ladies into cybersecurity. So at one point, I think we were like half, like, half men, half ladies, and it was just amazing. For me, I think one of the challenges was, you see, this field is always changing. So you always have to be on top of your toes in terms of learning. So I remember, like I mentioned, that we were working with software developers in terms of the projects, yes? So this time they're adopting a new technology. I remember there's a time now when they're adopting Kubernetes. I remember when they're doing now Kubernetes, I had no idea what Kubernetes is. And then there you are, you're told now you have to test your Kubernetes clusters, you have to test all that environment. Yeah, so it's always, the challenge is always being on top of your toes, because one gap is all it takes for a hacker to compromise your systems. So for us, we have to be lucky all the time. For a hacker, they have to be just lucky one time for them to be able to pivot over into the whole infrastructure, the whole environment, and take over your infrastructure. So yes, in most cases, you don't find all the security vulnerabilities. So in most cases, you actually get hacked. And in most cases, there's usually that blame game. Oh, who tested this system? Yeah, so yeah, that's one challenge that most people get in assurance, because in most cases, like you don't get all the security vulnerabilities at once. And in some instances as well, like you get the critical vulnerabilities, but the business says that they have to go to production before you actually fix that security vulnerability. Because remember, at the end of the day, security is a cost center. We're there to support the business. Yeah, so you have to make compromises. So you have to put in some safeguards or guardrails to make sure that you protect those security vulnerabilities. Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you so much for that. I know that you are actually in this topic. So maybe what kind of ethical considerations should we all here actually keep in mind, especially in terms of data privacy and protection in cloud security?
Oh, I like that, because in Kenya, I don't know if any of us are aware of the Data Protection Act that was for 2019. So gone are the days when we used to, so this is what used to happen a long time ago. So people would compromise like financial apps, and then they get customer data, and then they post that on Twitter saying that, oh, they were able to compromise this app, blah, 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 and we were able to release this. So a long time ago, what used to happen is that person would be hired by that company because they've shown that they were able to compromise the application. Right now, if you do something like that, you don't get less than 2 years in prison. So yes, I know students are usually very creative in terms of how they're interacting with applications, but you have to do that in a responsible way. That's something called responsible disclosure of security vulnerabilities. So you just ping that organization and say that, okay, I was just working with this and found this and this and this. Please close on this, but don't expose customer data at all. So you have to respect privacy at all costs. You have to make sure that data is actually stored securely within the cloud. And then the other consideration is data security, because we're looking at data at rest, data in transit, and data at use. You have to make sure that you're implementing encryption, access control, and you're also having monitoring mechanisms throughout. And then you also have to be transparent with your customers and with your end users, how you're actually collecting the data that you're collecting, how you're processing it, and how you're storing it in the cloud. Like they have to know that you're using this and this for this period of time, that if they want to withdraw their data, there's also a process to withdraw that as well. And we also have, maybe last one, compliance with regulations. Because as we said, we also have like the Data Protection Act. You have to make sure that you are compliant with that. In Europe, we have the GDPR. So like for them, any customer data within Europe should not be processed outside. So it has to remain within the region. And there are other considerations as well. So be it like maybe Windows servers, there are some policies and guidelines that help you in securing your Windows servers, your Kubernetes environment. Like you have to make sure that you are putting the best controls in everything that you're deploying.
Yeah, I think those are really great tips and things that we should definitely keep in mind. I know our cybersecurity students here now at least have that in mind, even as they're doing their mini assignments and exercises. Now they have that in mind as well. Yeah, I think this has been really, really great and enlightening. I mean, I'm honestly very happy that we could have you here, Joylynn. Maybe we can take one question, just one burning question, and then we'll take most of them during the Q&A. I can already see someone is asking if you're mentoring, are you mentoring anyone? I would like to be part of them. So she has dropped something in the chat, right?
Yes. So I normally
okay.
open up my calendar on Fridays. So I have sessions from 12 to 1, where I just mentor if you want to get into cybersecurity, if you want to just get general tech talks, we do that as well, creating roadmaps and whatnot. Yeah.
Oh, wow, that's amazing. Thank you so much for that. I think you're going a long way to help a lot of people who are really stuck in this field. Thank you so much. Any burning question before I move on to the next speaker? Any burning question? We still have Joylynn during the last segment, which is the Q&A. So I request all our speakers to be there so that in case there are any questions that have not been covered, we'll be able to cover them there. Okay, then. So thank you so much, Joylynn. I think we'll reconnect during the last segment, just after this speaker, and we'll be able to tackle all the questions. Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, great. I think so far so good. It's really engaging. I'm glad you guys are learning a lot. Thank you for the questions and thank you for the engagement. I would now like to introduce our last speaker, and then any questions that we've been having that we've been holding on to, we'll be able to address. So we have the pleasure of having Beryl, sorry for that. We have the pleasure of having Beryl Nekesa, also from Microsoft. So I know Beryl, Joylynn, you know each other. She has a passion for problem solving and innovation, mentoring aspiring developers, and exploring new ventures outside of coding. So she's a software engineer at Microsoft. So pleasure to have you here, Beryl. We can now at least have a conversation. You can let us know who you are, Beryl. Introduce yourself and your journey to being a software engineer at Microsoft. Karibu sana, Beryl.
Thank you so much, Claire. So just confirm you can hear me before I even try to figure out whether you can see me. But yeah.
Yes, we can hear and see you. Definitely. Great.
Okay, great. Thank you for having me. I love what you guys are doing. I was just listening at the very first moment that you started sharing about MobiGirlz, and I was like, wow, really inspiring. And it's also something that I'm also passionate about. So I hope we can collaborate in future. So yeah. So as Claire said, my name is Beryl. So first of all, amazing speakers have spoken. So like right now, I feel like, now what am I going to say? But I'll try. So yes, I'm a software engineer. I didn't start off by loving coding or doing coding at all. So might be different from what you guys had. So when I joined campus, I didn't have a background in computing or anything. Like I joined computer science not knowing what it was about. Like I was just going with the flow. I asked a friend, oh, what have you selected? They're like, computer science. I was like, okay, me too. Then I applied and then I was called. So I get there, the first lecture, and the lecturer is asking about the different languages. So in my head, I'm like, we're in Kenya, why would a lecturer ask what languages people know? Like, yet it was obvious. Hey, then you start hearing Java, you start hearing Python. You're like, okay, I think I'm in the wrong place. So that's where all the confusion started for the 4 years, just to clarify. Yeah, so coding has never been an easy thing for me. I think I struggled also because on how it was introduced, and then we were learning C. So yeah, me by the time I was reaching 4th year, I was like, yeah, I'm done. Like once I do my project, it's over. I loved tech as a concept, as a field, but I felt like I wasn't properly equipped to stay in the field. So my solution was I was going to find something a bit softer, but still within tech. That's what I was going to pursue because even opening the code editor was just a problem. So I was like, yeah, me and this thing, we don't have a future. So when I was in 4th year, this was in 2020, COVID hits. I'm doing my final project. Now we're doing everything online. And then a friend of mine sends me a link to a mentorship program by Microsoft. It was called Microsoft Leap. So I look at the requirements. Man, I haven't met any of the requirements. So they were trying to get people who had finished school long time and they wanted to retrain them and bring them into tech. I was still in school. So I was like, okay, since everything is virtual, I think I can handle it. So I applied for the program. I got in. I didn't like, they didn't, me being in school wasn't really an issue because eventually I got in. So just a lesson there, apply for opportunities even if you don't meet everything. So yeah, I got a chance that really pivoted my career journey. So in LEAP, we started coding from scratch, now from the basics. I did a lot of programming. I did a lot of problem solving. Sometimes I felt like quitting, to be honest, but we had a very nice tutor. Like, and this was the very first time I was seeing a female tutor actually doing problem solving, software engineering, and they were technically gifted and they were so smart, and I just loved the way she was doing things. And this for me was reason enough to be like, oh, okay, so then that means I can do it, because yeah, sometimes you might be like, okay, yeah, this maybe is a guy's thing, but just being able to see like someone who looks like you prosper and have a fruitful career, it helps. It helps. So it helped for my case. So 2020, we do the program. I start getting better. I start understanding like the basics of most of these things. We do a lot of lead code. We do a lot of codability. And by the time we're getting into early 2021, we're like, okay, I think we're ready for interviews at this point, because that's just to show you it doesn't take a long time to really like, so long as you're being consistent and you're practicing, like it doesn't take time for you to capture some of these concepts. So I felt I was pretty confident. I applied for a role at Microsoft. I did 5 interviews back to back. These are coding interviews. You're there with 5 different people. So by the time I was finishing my interview, they were like, yeah, she's overqualified for the role that she's applying for. And that's how I got my job right now. And this is my 3rd year. Yeah, so, I was in UN. I think I should have mentioned that I was in UN, and even throughout my my education in computer science, I did a lot of mentorship. So I was in Kamilimu. Claire was also in Kamilimu. And if you guys have never heard of Kamilimu, you should probably check it out. So I positioned myself in a lot of community engagements. So even most of the people that I work with at the office, I know them from those community engagements that we've been doing together. So yeah, and that's it about me. So maybe I can just say, Claire, so what I do right now, I am a software engineer, and I work on an organization called Cloud and AI, and basically we are on the Azure side. So Azure is the cloud solution for Microsoft. So we build diagnostics that help customers to self-diagnose issues in case they encounter them, as opposed to them calling us, because calling is more expensive to us as a company. So essentially, we're trying to reduce cost as much as possible. Yeah.
Great. You are doubting if you're great, and you're amongst one of the great panelists we have today, because today we just have amazing panelists, and we are so happy. And yes, we should definitely collaborate and see what we can do as MobiGirlz. So great to see your journey. You started off, not knowing or not being scared about coding. What is this coding? But here you are. So you're a testament to all these other people who are either transitioning into tech or actually starting out, that it's actually really possible. So amazing for that. Maybe my next question would be, so what are some of the lessons that you've learned throughout this career, now being actually, you've said in cloud and AI, right, at Microsoft. So what are some of the lessons you believe would help our audience as they prepare to join this tech workforce?
Yeah, that's a good question, because I think one of my responses has been touched on by the previous speakers, and one that I'm a big believer in is the continuous learning. Like, you can never stop learning. You can never stop learning. So especially if you're in tech, it's like, so my background is C#, and yesterday I was trying to write some TypeScript code. And man, you think like just moving from one language to another is easy until you learn about the intricacies that are there with the different languages. And for me, that was mind blowing. And I find like just me having an open mind to being like, okay, yeah, I can learn this, even if it's something different. It's something that I feel like most students need to embrace more. Like, don't have that, me, I feel like I know everything, I'm good. No, every day is an opportunity to add to the list of your task sets that you have. So yeah, continuous learning. Another thing I would say is developing a problem-solving mindset as well. Because I know when I was in school, it was all about writing code without even thinking like, what's the best way of doing this? It's just like, let me write HTML, let me write JS, create something beautiful, and that's it. But like, are you able to apply some of the problem-solving skills that would help a solution be a better solution than what you had initially? The last lesson that I've learned that would be beneficial is the power of teamwork, collaboration, and communication. So regardless of where you are, if you're going into the workforce, you know that you're going to work with people. People are not easy to work with because people are different. And so being able to know how to collaborate with different people, how to use different collaborating tools like Get would also take you a longer way. And also just being able to communicate, because I know people say, you know, software engineers are always just doing the thing on the laptop. I mean, if you can't communicate and you have the greatest solution, I mean, no one is ever going to know. Or if you want to go in the startup way and it's like you have this great thing, but like, how would you be able to communicate to others about what you're trying to implement? So yeah, those are some of the key lessons that I've learned even as a software engineer. As you're building your technical skills, like also focus on the soft skills, because at the end of the day, you're going to work with a team. So how are you able to communicate with your team? Yeah.
Yeah, and just literally picking off from what you've said about the soft skills. So what practical steps can students, so high school leavers, university just finished and you're trying to apply for a job, what are those steps that students can take so that they can stand out during interviews, during applications,
Yeah, so I think it goes back to something that I shared initially, and this is on practice, practice, and practice. Yeah, like with with software engineering. So I'm specifically talking about software engineering. Like you just have to practice, because if you stay for a while with like you're learning how to code and you don't code for like a week or 2 weeks, like it's like math. You have to keep on practicing. You have to build that muscle, that memory. And then you realize the more you do it, the easier it is for you to remember some of the stuff that you had done before. So practice, practice, practice. I love that we have a lot of platforms that can help us practice coding. My primary one is LeetCode. I love LeetCode. LeetCode is the one that took me from point A to point B. There's HackerRank, there's Codility, etc. So you just try to get comfortable with these platforms. And now that most tech companies are coming to Kenya, these are sort of the formula that they're using to evaluate students. So it's how do you position yourself so that you can be able to know how these interviews happen and how best you can prepare yourself. Yeah. Another thing I would say is apply for mentorships. I am big on mentorships. So I started my own mentorship, and this is purely for girls. It's just 1 week old. We are doing a lot of LeetCode, and I'm just helping the girls to know if you go for an interview, let's say, how do you approach a certain problem? How do you answer the problem? How do you test your solution? And how do you move from a brute force solution to an efficient solution? Teaching them how to explain the efficiency of a solution based on time and space complexity. So just because those are like the building blocks for software engineering. So once this block is efficient, the next block is efficient. You can imagine the execution of that whole program. So yeah, that's something I'm passionate about. And I can't wait to see where they get to and even prepare them for mock interviews. So what we do is I would set up a simulation of the real interview process. And it's like I'm taking them through the process, and it's like, okay, or even get a colleague from work and be like, okay, I need you to help with these students. And so they help them to prepare for those interviews so that they can be comfortable in that environment. So yeah, seek mentorship. I already said Kamilimu is there. And I know there's so many other good mentorships that are out there. I didn't even know Joylynn had one. I just checked out the link and I was like, yeah, Joylynn, I'm booking a session as well. So yeah, it's good that we do have a lot of mentorships that are out there. So I think it's important for someone to know what they are interested in and look at the possible venues in which they can plug into those communities and networks. The The last thing I would want to mention is to build a professional online presence through LinkedIn or whichever platform, but I know LinkedIn is the most popular one. So, and by this, you are connecting with people who are already there in, let's say, in a place that you want them to be, either as role models or mentors. Because it's interesting, because even for when I got the job, many people were asking for mentorship. And at that time, I was just like, guys, I just arrived, you know. So, but later on, I came back to the inbox and I was like, now let me check for all the students who've ever asked for mentorship. And those are the ones that I went to. And now we are working together and I'm like, okay, I'm going to help you where I can. So it's important to build that online presence, reach out to the people who you think they can help. And yeah, I think by that, you're placing yourself in a better position. Yeah.
Amazing. Please give us the link. People are already asking for the link for the mentorship. We are ready to be mentored. Please do share if you can, if you are willing to start getting more people or you're doing it phase by phase, please do share. Our community would love to be mentored by you. So maybe my last question would be around, now that you've talked about AI, there are very many emerging technologies. So what do you think is the impact of AI on the future of software engineering? Like, how can people who are starting off in the industry, students, prepare for that impact?
So I don't like speaking on AI. I'd be honest. It gets crazy. I was actually listening to the first speaker and I was like, yeah, let me listen in, because yeah, it's so here's the thing. I don't want to talk about the future. Let's talk about what AI is doing right now in terms of software engineering, the impact that it has on it. And for me personally, I rely on AI a lot since it was availed to us as software engineers. And there's so much that someone can be able to accomplish. And it's like you have Copilot, you have ChatGPT. So it's called Copilot. It's not like a pilot. It's not autopilot. It's like we're working together. So how is it helping me to improve the assisting in code writing and problem solving? That's one. Two is like you can use Copilot to be able to improve your testing, because sometimes you might miss some edge cases, and it's like it will be able to help you with that. It can also help you with debugging. So for me personally, what we use in the work setup sometimes is, apart from the helping to finish your code, which also improves the efficiency of your output, is when you write a PR and you push it, it's like it will generate a summary description of the changes that you've done. Because sometimes you've done a lot and then you're just like, okay, now what do I want to write as a summary of this PR? You get the AI already has pre-populated what you've done and it explains it nicely. So that's one of the ways that I personally use AI to do my software engineering work for today. Yeah.
Thank you for that very safe answer. Great. So now the floor is open for questions, not only for Beryl, but for all our speakers now. Njeri, Wanjiru, Joylynn. Now you can feel free to ask them questions. I know we have exceeded time a bit, but it's because the conversation is very engaging. So I can see Mercy Jelimo, your mic is on. I'm not sure if you have a question. So any question for our speakers, all of them now? We have a chance to tap into their knowledge, to tap into their resources, to ask them some few questions. Any question for our speakers? Any burning question? I think we've answered. Mary Valerie, I can see you had typed on the Q&A. I know Joylynn has answered this. So any other participant with a question? It's not every day we have these amazing speakers, IBM, Microsoft, one with her own digital consultancy firm. So any question, don't leave this. Angela, thank you. Angela, you can unmute your mic and let us know who the question is for.
Hi, everyone. The question generally is, I think, for all of the speakers. since it's women in tech, and for me, sometimes I feel like IT, as much as a lot of women are joining tech, sometimes it feels like it's still a male-dominated field, perhaps. So are there any challenges that you guys face in your work, especially now as for Beryl and Joylynn? I had you work in Microsoft, such a big tech company. Like, do you have any challenges based on being a woman? That's all.
Beryl, would you like to pick this? I can already see your mic is on. You're ready. I know Joylynn had mentioned some.
So personally, I have not encountered something that I would say it's rightly out there, simply because we do have a lot of training on, like we have days where it's called learning day, and you have required training. You'll be trained about the importance of diversity and inclusion. So the moment you're here, you're already aware. So people attend, like every month you have a day of learning, especially, okay, this is organization specific. I'm in an organization called Identity. So once you have that training, it's something that you keep on being reminded every day, and everyone is aware. So it's harder when people are aware to sort of place this expectations on you based on who you are as a person. So I feel like that is what has helped me. In other places, yes, of course, I've encountered that, but I feel like here it's very subtle, if there is any at all. Yeah.
That's great. I think it's something that organizations should definitely adopt. Thanks so much for that. Any additions? Maybe Catherine, Njeri, do you have any additions to that? Okay. Oh, okay, thanks.
Sure.
Sawa, thanks. Okay, yes. Okay, I think the next question here on the chat or the Q&A box was Beryl talked about an AI tool they are building to respond to clients and save the cost of calling. Will this impact the call center support and similar roles? Beryl, can you see that question, or should I read it out again?
Please, yes, read it again as I look for it.
Okay, so Beryl talked about an AI tool they are building to respond to clients and save the cost of calling. Will this impact the call center support and similar roles?
Okay, I don't think I said that exactly, but yes, we do have a machine model that is helping us build the diagnostics that are helping our customers to get better solutions that can help themselves. So the goal is, so first of all, right now, the goal is to reduce the number of cases where customers call us, right? And that is expensive to the company. I don't know exactly the metrics that is used to calculate, but it's a lot of money for just one case where someone is requesting to speak to one of us. So yes, maybe AI, of course, might have an implications to that, but you'd find that even for that role, it's not like call support is handling that alone. They're also trying to help customers in other ways. But yes, what AI can do, I mean, no one can tell. But yeah, it's a possibility. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Another question here on the Q&A box is, sorry, Njeri, did you have an addition?
Yes, just wanted
Okay.
to share my experience from managerial perspective. So for me, handling mail in a male-dominated industry has been an interesting, to be honest, lesson for me, especially in terms of managing them and then managing them Gen Zs. So one thing I've learned with them is communication is key. right? I think the way as women, the way we process information versus how they process information. So that's why for me, doing a lot of soft skills and upscaling on that sector has really helped me so that I can understand how to deal with different people in different situations. So back to Beryl and Joylynn, them, they're lucky they have all these training days, but for some of us, we have to actively go. And to Joylynn's point, YouTube University is everything, because you'll get people who've gone through the same experiences. So yeah, that's it for me.
Thank you so much, Njeri. We do appreciate that comment as well. So I see here is another question from a participant. He or she is asking, are there opportunities for volunteering for one to gain practical industrial experience? So I think I'll go first. We actually have an opportunity that we have been advertising to our students. It's under a partnership with an organization called Skilled Up Life. So what they do is they have partnered with various organizations around the world where they offer volunteer internships for 3 months. So be it digital marketing, software engineering, project management, you name it. We'll have it in the chat section, whereby you, especially if you just want to gain, this is exactly what I'm getting from the participant, you want to gain that hands-on experience, you can sign up on the platform, understand exactly which course or what role you want to be in, and then you'll get to intern for that particular company for 3 months, and it's just 3 hours a day for the 3 months. So maybe I'll also open it up to the speakers, Wanjiru, Njeri, Joylynn, Beryl. Are there any other opportunities that you know people can volunteer in?
Volunteer at school, guys. That's the first place to start.
Volunteer at?
At school. At school. Join those clubs. Yeah.
Yeah.
School.
Okay.
That's how you get. That's how you get people to see you, right?
I like that, Njeri, because if you're in the university and there's no community or IT club, create one. You just show that visibility, just don't say that there's none, there's nothing that you can do. Create one. That's what we did in USIU with the ICT club and also with ISEC. Plug in and be visible. And also, in terms of volunteering, be part of a community. So if you want to get into data science, we have data science communities in Kenya. We have cybersecurity communities in Kenya. Be visible. Also train other people. Don't say that you don't know anything, that you can't train other people. I'm usually a big person, big on public learning. So public learning is whereby you are also learning, but training others in the process. So by training others as if you're training like a 5-year-old, you get to understand the technology better. You get to understand the subject better. So, and you also get visibility within the community, because what most professionals or employers do as well, they'd want to see if you are plugged into a community, if you're doing something more, going above and beyond. So yes, please, as much as possible, be part of a community, and as much as possible, participate.
Thank you so much for those comments and remarks. I've just put in another question here. I know it's a bit long, so that's why I've just put it here, so our speakers, you can just have a look at it. But it says, hello, I'm a teacher of English and working, but also I'm passionate about tech, and I'm learning and want to skill up in tech skills. And sometimes I feel like just letting it go because of people's reactions when I tell them I'm doing front-end development. So my question is it wise for me to leave teaching and pursue software engineering? Also, how can I integrate the two? So what would you advise our English teacher?
I think, okay.
Go on, great. We can have Wanjiru then, Joylynn, if that's okay. Okay.
Yep, let's see. I'll try and hopefully not step on anything wrong here. But I have been a teacher before, and there's always that transition of leaving something to something new. This is going to be personal, but as whoever asked this question, you shouldn't let what people think about you get to you. It's what you can do that matters. And yeah, if you can do it, that's it. If people get to you and then you start questioning, can I really do this? That's what we call imposter syndrome. And that's what whoever posted this might be having. So it's normal, even people in their senior roles have these. You just have to know, this is for me, and this is what I want to do. I'm not sure who was speaking to go next.
Okay. First of all, the killer of many dreams is people's perspective. You know, some people just have to be hard-headed, you know, kwa kichwa ngumu tu. Like, you just aim, you know that this is what you want to do, this is what you want to achieve. As in, so many people have negative perspectives, and you just have to be, sometimes your own cheerleader, for sure. So if you want to get into software development, software engineering, get into it. If you want positive perspective, get mentors who have been in the field. You don't have to do all the mistakes yourself. You can learn from other people's mistakes. Like they've covered that mistake probably for 10 years. So you don't have to do the 10 years yourself to get to know how not to do something. So learn from other people's experiences. And how you can marry between English and software engineering. You can always be creative. It can be like a mobile app to teach people English. You know, you never know. Like you could just get your passion and get into how find a particular problem and fix that problem through technology. I was also a teacher. I was an untrained teacher for French, and I can tell the imposter syndrome. But yes, there's always room, you know, for personal growth. Just take it upon yourself.
Oh, great. Thank you so much for that. As in, I really enjoy the wealth of knowledge that you guys are offering to our audience. I think I'm not seeing any other question from our participants. I can see someone who's asked about scholarships. So in case we do have scholarships as Immobilis or MobiGirlz community, we do actually announce it to all our social media platforms. And in case you have signed up for our alumni community, we will communicate for sure. I believe we are all good. I don't see any other question. Mary Valerie, do you have any other? Okay, Wairimo. So maybe the last two, Wairimo and Mary Valerie, and then we'll be able to close off. Yes, Wairimo? Rose, as we go. Sorry, continue.
Hi, I hope everyone is doing fine. My question is, I understand anything when you're starting something new, you kind of find it kind of tough in a way, especially if you're new to it. And I was having a conversation with a friend of mine. I think she's in this call right now, because I'm new into tech. It's something that I'm trying to get into, and I do find it difficult in a way that I find myself, or most of the time, on YouTube videos, ChatGPT, trying to evaluate a problem that I am having. And I usually ask myself, is it something that everyone who ventures in tech goes through? Or am I just, maybe, is it just that tech is hard for me? Yeah.
Anyone who wants
Maybe I can give some points. Yeah, and I'm not an expert, Wairimu, but I would tell you for free, just trying out anything new comes with that set of challenges. And that's why I'm big on mentorship, because someone would be able to help you and point you to the right direction, depending on what you want to pursue. Let's say you're now trying to figure out software engineering. When you have someone who can mentor you, they'll be able to point to you what exactly you may need to start with. You will have a lot of questions, especially at the beginning, and you need someone who you can be able to get a response to, because sometimes information can be overwhelming. You can go to YouTube and this one is saying this, the other one is saying this, and now you're totally confused. So, and I think that's why mentorship is important as well as community. Because for what worked for me, I always say, if I was doing those challenges alone, I don't think I would have gone far. But we were doing it with 9 other ladies. And it made it easier because you get into a session, you don't know this thing, but someone else knows a bit of that. And when you're learning together, it sorts of help you to learn faster and to also just have some bit of confidence. So I would say I would really rely on support, either from people who've done it before or someone who also has the same interest of learning what you're trying to learn. Yeah.
Thank you, Beryl. Any last addition?
Yeah, maybe I can add something.
Yeah.
Don't suffer alone. Create a group and suffer together. Yeah, because sometimes, when you're in a group, you tend to, encourage each other, you keep each other on track. You get. And I always say this, like, is there something that's actually hard? Like, it has been done by someone else, so it's doable. So it's all about perspective in the mind. So just tell yourself that I can do it, I can do it, I can do it. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Joylynn and Beryl, for that. You want to add something, Njeri?
No, I think they've covered. Sorry,
Okay.
let me be one thing. Just do it. Stop reading. Like sometimes you analysis, and then you feel so overwhelmed and like you're not. Just do it. Do it, you learn. That's the only way to really learn, to be honest.
Great. Thank you so much. We'll have Rose. Rose, are you ready for your question?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay.
Hello, everyone. My name is Rose. I just finished my course, but I've not yet graduated. So my question is, like, how do I cope with, like, before you even I start there is a language that I'm learning. Before I finish, another thing comes up. I tend to go to that thing, then another thing comes up. So how do I cope with that? That is my first question. My second question is, I tend to find myself like I don't have a lot of friends in tech. So I have these challenges that I want to solve. There are some that even when I try to Google them, I don't find solutions. So how do I go about that? Then the last question is, I got an internship where I'm working from home. Is it a good thing for me to work from home, or should I just find a job that where I interact with a lot of people? That's my question.
I think we can redistribute the questions, maybe a speaker to do one, another one. Yeah. So feel free to choose whichever.
Okay, so maybe I can take the work from home one. I don't know, Beryl, are you in the office or at home?
I'm in the office.
Yeah, so even if we have that flexibility of working from home, someone like Beryl can prefer to go to the office. Like for me, I've been working from home for 4+ years. So right now, if you tell me to go back to the office, like hata sijui nitafanya nini. Yeah, so it depends. At home, you have a lot of distractions. So you have to have a lot of discipline as well. And you also won't have that flexibility of, interacting with other people in person. So if your aim is to be around people who are in the same space, like software development, and you want to interact with them, then having some, like working from the office would be better, or maybe dedicating some bit of time working in the office and working from home. But if it's a situation whereby it's fully remote or fully in the office, if you want to really grow, maybe socially and in the technology, probably working from the office would be better. That's my perspective. Okay.
Any other perspective as we close off the Q&A?
Sure, let me take up about not having friends.
Sorry for that. Let me just try and mute. Just a minute. So yes, yeah, you can go ahead now.
Yeah, so if you don't have people in your, like I said, when I started, marketing was traditional marketing. There was no digital marketing. So thank God we have internet, guys. Use this tool. When you're online, who are you following online? Stop following those influencers who are showing you the latest phone. Have a mindset of learning. So follow those people. You have us, all of us here right now. Go find us on LinkedIn. Have those conversations. You end up in WhatsApp groups where you have people you can ask, and that's the way you can learn. So you'll be surprised. 90% of us don't have relatives who are even understanding what we do half the time. So use that to your advantage. My mom doesn't still understand what I do, but yeah, we can still talk, So find those communities, build them, join WhatsApp groups.
Thank you so much for that. I think we've been able to answer most of the questions. I know that people have other commitments, so I don't want to prolong this. The good thing is that our speakers have placed their LinkedIn profiles, Twitter, X, that is. So in case you have any other burning question, any other really something that you want to reach them, please reach out to them on their LinkedIn handles. I know Nderitu, Wanjiru, Joylynn, as well as Beryl did share. In case they did, I'll just request them if they can share with us, and then we'll email you guys. So I would like to thank you so much, dear speakers, for this amazing time that you've given us. I know we have extended, but it's because the conversations were really engaging. We've posted on the chat section a feedback survey. Please, our participants, our speakers, feel free to just chime in, say, this is what went well, this is what we should improve on, so that the next webinars will be great and amazing. I would now like to invite the MobiGirlz committee leader, Goreti, to give us the vote of thanks and closing remarks so that we are able to close off. And then maybe at the very end, we can have all the participants just have their camera on. We take a group picture. I know we can't do it physically, so we can maybe do it virtually. So Goreti, please do give us the closing remarks. Doreen, you can actually just put your question in the chat. I can see at least Joylynn has answered the one Elsie asked. And yes, we'll share the recording to this webinar. So Doreen, please ask on the comment before we close off so that one of the speakers can answer. Welcome, Goreti.
Good afternoon, everyone. So my name is Goreti Wawera. I'm the chairperson, MobiGirlz community. I would like to thank everyone for joining this webinar. It's been a pleasure having you all. It's been a good number, those who have participated, the members from our school, from other places, those who got the invite from, who are not from MobiGirlz, but they're here. We really thank you for committing yourself. We really thank the speakers for your good talk, for the mentorship, for the knowledge that you've given unto us. We hope that you're going to have more of this and more of interaction. Thank you also for our school as the MobiGirlz community for planning this and for it being a success. It's all because of you. And also thank you to God for everything and for a good day. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Goriti, for that. Thank you for our dear speakers. We truly, truly appreciate you, and you wouldn't have done this. This webinar wouldn't have been a success without you. And also to the team behind me who have truly supported me in a special way, Joy, Miriam, my other colleagues, thank you so much for enabling this to be a great webinar. So now I think we can do the group picture that I was mentioning. And also a big shout out to all the men who joined us. I see Franco Juma here saying that you guys have really benefited. Thank you for supporting us. Thank you for being the he for she. We truly, truly appreciate you and be inviting for more webinars that we will be planning. So thank you so much, guys. So we can do this in less than 30 seconds. We can have the guys turn on their camera. We do the group photo, and then Pauline, if you're around, you'll do the closing prayer as we end. So guys, let's turn on our camera. Let's look beautiful. Let's look lovely. Let's look handsome. All the men we have. Let's just do 30 seconds. Jamiram is helping us take the picture. So please, once you have taken the picture, Jamiram, let us know. But let's have our cameras on. Thank you so much, guys. You guys are lovely. You guys are amazing. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Let us know once you take the picture. Wait, let's turn our camera. 30 seconds, guys. Wale wajatan. We'd like to have at least. Okay, then let's just take one now. Okay, Joy has taken that photo. Thank you so much for attending this webinar. Pauline, kindly close off with a word of prayer as we close off the webinar. Pauline?
Okay, let us believe and pray. Our dear Heavenly Father, we are humbled before your holy and mighty presence this afternoon. We give you adoration, all the glory, all the praise, my Father, for you have been great, my God. You have been wonderful, Redeemer, Father. Father, we prayed for this day, oh my God, and indeed it has happened, my God. We give you all the praise, my Redeemer, Father. Thank you, Jehovah, for all those who are the speakers of the day, my Redeemer God. How we are praying, Jehovah, is that you may increase them, Jehovah. May you increase them in their careers, my Redeemer Father. May them mentor more and more ladies in this, oh my Lord. We praise you, Jehovah, for you have been amazing, my Redeemer Father. We worship you even for the sake of our school, my Redeemer. Thank you for they planned this and it has been a success, my Redeemer Father. Thank you, Lord. We give you all the praise, my God. Even as we depart, my Redeemer Father, whatever we have learned, oh God, from the session, my Father, may we implement, oh my God, to better off our lives, my Redeemer Father. Thank you, Jehovah, for you are great and mighty, and we believe in you for the success of our futures, oh Lord. We do worship you and we adore you, my Father. It is in the mighty name of Jesus I do believe, trusting and praying. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you for joining. Do have a lovely afternoon and weekend. Bye.